Welcome to the Rewilding Womb, a space where birth, body wisdom, and feminine power are remembered and reclaimed. I'm Sabrina, an out-of-hospital midwife devoted to physiological birth, deep listening, and protecting the sacred threshold of pregnancy, birth, and postpartum.
And I'm Danielle, a photographer and doula, here to witness, support, and document the raw, transformative journey of being a woman. Together, we're having honest conversations about birth, postpartum, boundaries, and what it means to return to our instincts in a modern world.
This is the Rewilding Womb, where we trust birth, honor the mother, and come home to ourselves. Danielle and I are here today to talk to you guys about boundaries.
Mm-hmm.
Boundaries are huge when it comes to being a woman. That's a fact.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of women are confused about what are boundaries and how to establish them, what's okay, what's not okay. And a lot of women are learning how to set healthy boundaries probably when they're having their first child, or maybe even later. And so it's a very hot topic. It's a very important topic. And as we were preparing for this conversation, I was like, we could do 10 conversations on this alone, and we will still have more depth to go into with what are boundaries.
Right.
The most important thing that women need to know is that boundaries are not selfishness. It's setting up, it's a boundary. It is kind of like a wall, but it's actually good for your mental health to have them.
It's protecting yourself. I mean, it's not necessarily a wall, but you have your guard up with certain situations and energy that comes to you with what you're trying to protect you and your family from. Mm-hmm. So in a way, they're not necessarily walls. It's just this type of barrier that you're putting up to when people are talking to you about things that you're not aligning with. And we're going to go into detail about this as well, what we feel when we're feeling not aligned with a certain person or environment, what that feels like, and how to help put up those walls. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. But yeah, I think it's a good practice to have when it comes to being a woman, being a mother, and I mean, for anyone, honestly, for anyone.
Yeah.
Yes.
And something that I notice all the time as a midwife is that, and I have this conversation all the time with families who are expecting their first child, is that they may not have ever realized that they did not have healthy boundaries until they're approaching the birth of their first child. Mm-hmm. And then they're realizing
what just happened?
Or why does this person think that they have this free access to us and our child?
Right.
And that's not what we want.
Right.
But it's the first time that they've actually really thought about it, and they're realizing that they have been ignoring their deeper intuition on specific things just to keep the peace or whatever. Mm-hmm. And so while people think that, I'm just going to let my mom or my sister or my best friend, or my mother-in-law, to do what they feel is best. I don't want to be confrontational. I don't want to be difficult.
No.
But what it does is it actually drains you.
Yeah.
It is such an energy drainer when you don't have healthy boundaries.
Right.
And then you may be dealing with all of the things like, being ill or anxious or, all these problems, or you just sit here and think about it all the time for hours or days over someone who disrespected a boundary that you should have established, but you hadn't yet.
Right.
So so you always have this deeper knowing of what a boundary should be, because we all have intuition, but we usually are ignoring it just to go along or get along or keep someone else happy. But what it does eventually is it is actually harming you emotionally, mentally, and eventually physically.
Right.
And there's lots and lots of women or reasons why women specifically struggle with boundaries.
Yes.
But it is definitely something that comes up at the time of late pregnancy, around the birth, in your early postpartum days. You start looking back and you start realizing, I'm going to do that differently.
Yeah.
And that may be in reference to everyone around you, the medical team that helped take care of you. But sometimes it's after the fact you're looking back. So Danielle, tell us a little bit of why women struggle so much with setting boundaries.
We are conditioned. We are conditioned when we are children. Just so from my experience, I will talk on this. So we are conditioned to be the good little girls, to not speak your mind. And if you did, I would get the silent treatment. So I, as someone that craves connection, I would, if I voiced myself or had a strong opinion, I would be shut out. I would lose that connection and lose that love with, my family members. And so with me, I've had to, over the years, create these boundaries and say, no, this is going to stop. I don't want it to be like this with my kids. And I want my kiddos to have to set those boundaries, my girls. I want to mention something that you've shared with me in the past, and a thought that I had just a couple minutes ago when you're talking is that this is why we as mothers have to do differently for our children. Oh, yeah.
When our children have big emotions, you can't just shut them down.
No.
Because that's contributing to women who are having all kinds of mental and emotional health issues that can lead to physical issues because we've been shut down our whole lives, and now we're still trying to live that way as an adult. But it's another thing. It's like sometimes it comes out when you are having your first child, or sometimes we realize it when our children are getting a little older and we start realizing maybe, wait a minute, this person I've allowed in my life forever to treat me this way, I cannot let this person treat now my children in the way they treated me.
Right.
And then that's another layer.
Yes.
And we're all going to have layer upon layer upon layer as we go through life.
Yes.
And gain experiences. We're going to keep peeling these layers off of learning more about boundaries. We're all a work of
so many layers.
Yeah.
So many layers. I was telling Sabrina today before we started recording is I'm still working on all this. And as I was thinking of things to talk about today, and I'm like, man, it's easier for me to advocate and to create boundaries for other people. So easy. Yeah. But when it comes to myself, I'm like, I got a lot of work to do. And I've noticed this, like my girls, teenager in the house, and I see how much passion she has, how much emotion, and it's beautiful emotion. I feel like she can take this and run with it and move mountains with it. And so I feel she's almost like, in a way, healing parts of me, that because the way she's able to live and the way she's able to speak about something that she's so passionate about. And I love that about her. But we are all different. We all have different personality types. We all handle life stresses differently. And so we kind of have to go with that as well. Like when we're working with other women, I feel like everyone, we got to work with them differently. And we've got to share with them stories or advocate for them completely different than, we would another time. So with someone else.
Or someone else you may see that same day.
Right.
And that's what individualized care is.
Yes.
And as birth workers, we especially have to be sensitive to each woman and her uniqueness and meeting her where she is, not where we expect her to be.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. And that goes down to why women struggle, avoiding conflict. There's a lot of women that want to avoid conflict because that makes them feel anxious. It gets their blood pressure rising. They start having heart palpitations or their heart's racing. They feel clammy. There's a lot of things that are happening within their body that they're not recognizing. They just know it feels unsafe. It doesn't feel good. But there's a reason why your body does that. That's the thing. And that's what you got to listen to. Is what your body's trying to tell you. When you are in a safe environment, when you are feeling heard, when you are protected, when you are in your body and you're feeling empowered, you are not going to have those gut responses. Those responses that your body's trying to tell you this isn't right. And so that right there is something that you should probably journal. Because I've been doing this, writing things down. I had to get my little note app out on my phone. And I'm like, I'm going to write about this because this is what I'm feeling at the moment. And I don't feel good during this. I wonder why. So then I go back and I look and I'm like, well, this is why I wasn't feeling good. I didn't like the way someone was talking to me or their tone of voice or what gaslighting was a big thing. So I didn't know what that term was until 6 years ago when I was told by a family member of mine that I was gaslighting people.
Isn't it funny the people that accuse you of it are the ones who are actually doing it?
Yes.
Yeah.
And so I was like, what is this word? So I had to do this whole research about it. I had no idea what it meant. And of course there's certain situations where we're feeling attacked. We will do things. I mean, we're human. We are not perfect at all. And so, but it's noticing when you start doing things and patterns like that you're like, okay, hey, I need to step back here, or I need to rethink of what I'm saying or how I'm saying this, and then, go from there. But going back to why we're struggling in the first place, it's just that avoiding the conflict and not trying to cause waves in a birth space or, in your space at home or with your relationships. Because a lot of with me, I'm afraid of losing connections and losing people in my life. But I've had to work on myself and say, you know what? I can't continue to entertain other people and to please other people to keep them in my life if they're going to be just toxic. And that's the word I'm going to have to say is toxic, because they're not going to do any growing. If you're going to be growing with me, I want you here by my side. But if you're not going to grow, that's when boundaries come in. And that's when I'm like, you know what? I will interact with you. I will talk to you, but I will no longer pour my heart and soul into our relationship.
Exactly.
That's where it stops.
Exactly.
And so that took a lot of work for me to do. And I still get that sensation, the clamminess in my hands when I talk about that, because I'm still healing. I'm still healing from that.
The question, though, is you feel that kind of physical sensation in the moment when you need to stand up for yourself.
Yes. The adrenaline.
And we can respectfully and kindly and calmly establish boundaries. We can.
Yes.
You don't have to be loud or angry.
Right.
That's the biggest thing I'm constantly telling my kids. It's you can set firm boundaries. You can tell people how to treat you without getting emotionally involved in it.
Yes.
And so that's one thing, but that uneasy feeling, that physical sensation that you described, if you actually, like you've been doing, paying attention, journaling, and then maybe in another similar situation, you do differently. You trust your intuition, you speak your truth, you assert your boundaries, and then how do you feel about that? Because my bet is that when you allow those physical sensations to hush you and make you go along,
Mm-hmm.
you are for days or weeks or months or years wishing you would have handled it differently because it is pulling at you, it's nagging at you, it's bothering you.
Yes.
And that's where we can have these long-term health issues because of unhealthy boundaries.
Right.
Where you have that little physical sensation and you actually do what is hard in the moment, but it's the right thing,
Yes.
and you feel better about it.
Oh, yeah.
Afterwards, you're like, I'm proud of myself.
Yeah.
I did that.
Uh-huh.
And it's not draining you for days or weeks or months.
Right.
And then you're like, okay. Then you grow a little backbone, and then you're like, that felt good.
Yeah. Yeah. You no longer let it affect you. It's like, it's an amazing feeling when you have those boundaries. Yes. Amazing.
Yes.
And another thing is too, like, I feel like with a lot of moms, this goes with, mothers that have had children already, that are postpartum, or you get a lot of family members that tell you how to mother. Like, they did that. I did this. This is what I did. You should do that. That's not how I raised my kids, or that's not how I raised my son, or how I raised my daughter. And so I feel like setting boundaries in that way and be like, well, that's okay. That's the way you raised your family. I'm going to raise my family the way I want to. And so that's another thing, I had to work on, and some other people I know in my life that had to do the same thing.
I don't know any mother who hasn't had to work on that.
Oh my gosh.
You're either going to go along with what these people that you love and probably respect are trying to make you do, or you are going to trust your own motherly intuition because your child was given to you. My children were given to me and entrusted to us as individuals to raise that particular child. Right. And that other person that I love or respect was not entrusted with the raising of my child. And so it's not their responsibility to tell me how to raise my child. And so we just have to find that piece. And just having a conversation with a woman 2 days ago in a prenatal visit, and she's expecting her 4th child, and she's in the throes of this right now. And it's like, this family member, doesn't approve of what we're choosing to do with our own children. And we're really having to figure out, how much access is this person going to have in our lives if they're not going to respect our authority with our own children? And that's so hard.
It is.
But I don't think there's any woman who has not come to terms with that situation on some level.
Yes.
On some level. Because some of us have had family who's totally respectful of our choices, although they might question them. And I remember, 30 years ago, family members being like, well, you're doing a lot way different than we did, but we know better than argue with you. We'll just see how your kids turn out. Now, most of my kids are adults and they all eat their words. You know what I mean? But I'm not going to say that I don't have those same feelings with some of the parenting choices that my children are having with their own kids. Right. You know what I mean? Yeah. But I'm at a place in my life where I'm like, I don't know that I would be doing it that way, but they're your children. Yes. It's not for me to tell you what to do with your own kids.
Yes.
Yeah. And so anyway, everyone just has to find where that they are in that. Yeah. But everyone struggles with what you just said.
Yeah, absolutely. And I feel like that goes down to, creating boundaries. We're talking about the birth space, postpartum space, or just as a woman. I feel like with birth, especially, I work with a lot of clients where their family projects their fears onto them about their birth space, or what, like you said, like their plans for the birth, if they're having a home birth, or they want a low intervention birth at the hospital, or they don't want to, they don't want to give certain medications to their children. And there's just so much that family members will come and say, oh, well, I did this and this, and I tried to do that, and look what happened to me. Or I ended up in a C-section. Or, oh, what if you start hemorrhaging? Like they start projecting their anxieties and their fears onto the mother. And so what we have to do as women is surround ourselves with good birth stories. There are millions out there, millions. But of course, if you're going to look on the media, all you're going to see are the bad stories. And yeah, go ahead.
And why is it that women and society in general wants to tell you their horrific birth story, but nobody wants to listen to us talk about our empowering experiences?
Right.
And so that's a societal flaw. And I think it is just attraction to drama. Not empowerment, but drama is what's attractive to the human nature. And I'm here to rewrite that. I'm here to totally rewrite that. Like, we're here to uplift, to show you there's a better way.
So many better ways.
But it's so hard because we see women all the time. You and I see it all the time. They literally manifest their own birth outcome because, well, that's just how it went for my mom.
Right.
And they don't understand, like, they don't realize at all that their mother has imprinted on them, her trauma. And now some women are just personifying that. And they don't understand that it doesn't have to be that way.
Right.
It doesn't have to be that way.
No, it does not.
There's so many layers. And this is all like, it's all from conditioning. And honestly, some of the conditioning is completely out of our control because it was in our mother's mind when we were in her womb. And that's conditioning us even before we were ever even actually born. And so yeah, it's hard. It's a lot to overcome. But the best thing is when women identify, I am in control of my future. I can make choices that are different. And that's that right there, just acknowledging that you can have a different outcome than your mother, than your sister, it's like identifying that, and then it gives you hope. It's like a way out. But there are other reasons why women struggle with boundaries. Let's talk about some of those.
I mean, I feel like with us as women, we just are, we fear just being difficult. I've had to work on that on myself a lot when it comes to that, because I did want to connect and communicate and be open with everyone. And I've known that I can pour my heart and soul into someone, and if they're not receiving it, it's pointless. And I had to get over that because I was like, I want to connect with this person. I want this. I want them to be in my life. I want them to be in my circle. But if they aren't going to give me and devote that time and quality time to me, and what there's nothing I can do about it. There's nothing I can do. And it hurts because sometimes it can be like the closest family members in your life. And you will try to open those doors for those connections and that communication. But if they have not put in the work themselves, then it stops there. And there's nothing you can do about it anymore. And I've tried years and years to work with people like that. So again, creating that boundary. But I feel like but going back to women when they struggle, like with the medical world too, and what they hear from the society, like medical society, like what they see. I mean, they're going to project their fears as well onto their patients, because what do they see normally that come in? The inductions, medications, and you see women birth in a different way than how you and I see a lot of times. And so I just feel like with different practitioners and providers, what they see is how they project birth, what their experiences are with their other patients and with higher interventions. And so we can't really surrender to those figures, those doctors and those facilities, to what their practices are, because all their practices show is high intervention. And what happens with higher interventions is medical, is trauma, birth trauma, high cesarean rates. So we got to look at the root of that. And so, we can't let it affect us and what our thoughts are and our plans are for our births.
And a difficult thing is within the medical system, is where you're talking about right now, is that we all, as humans that live in America, in any advanced country, have been conditioned from a very young age of, do not ever question a medical provider. And so there's not only have women been conditioned to be agreeable and avoid conflict, and we as women crave those relationships, as you were talking about a moment ago, and then realizing that when we set boundaries, we're probably going to lose people in our lives because of doing what is best for us, because they can't respect that and they're not in a growth phase. But then you come into the medical system and you have all that. That's all just added on top of, they're a doctor. Don't you dare question them. But then they're coming to a situation where, in order to have a good birth, you have to fully surrender. But there's such conflict between what you're wanting for your birth and what they're wanting for your birth. And so then women get into situations where we see it. We were talking about this earlier before we started recording, about within the medical system so often, and maybe even outside of the medical system with certain midwives, they come to a point where there has been some type of conflict during the labor process, and that woman gets into a place of either the adrenaline response of fight, flight, or freeze, or fawn, right? And so most women within especially a birth scenario, they've been working, you're not going to flight. You're not going to run away from that situation like an actual animal would. They'd shut their labor down and they would run. But again, because of conditioning, women are not going to do that. So they either freeze, which I've seen this before.
That's a big one.
And I've actually seen it lead to fetal demise. And I think that was what contributed to the loss of one of my family members. Or you see them fawn. And that's what we mostly see, quite frankly. Within the birth scenario, you'll see a woman just completely just like, okay, fine, whatever. And you see it. They become very disconnected. And then those births are then cause things like PTSD, and it requires those women to go through lots of therapy.
Well,
all because of either trying to establish a healthy boundary and the people not respecting it, or then going into it not understanding how to establish a boundary.
And see, and I know. And I think that's where I kind of came in with like my photography work, because dissociating from
that's what they do when they fawn. They disassociate. They're removing themselves. Emotionally.
I do that. I have done that. And there are so many moments that I don't remember at all. So many missed connections that I have with my girls. And it's all through doing the fawn response.
I bet you it happens more often than it does not within the medical system. And women are not able to identify it. They don't realize it.
No, that's exactly what's happening. And so like I told myself as a birth photographer, I was like, my goodness, I want to capture those moments for moms. And of course it became into advocating, because I'm like, I can no longer watch and just document. Now I got to go and like, and be an advocate for these women, because I know exactly what's going to happen. I'm a pattern seeker, by the way. Like that's what I do, and that's like
how you solve problems, though.
And that's
you analyze it, and then you can have you can offer a solution to a problem because you analyze
I see it, and I see exactly what's happening. The snowball, and this goes for hospital and home births with certain midwives. Like I know, and I see this pattern happening, and I'm like, oh goodness. But as a birth photographer, photographer too, as I'm seeing certain things unfold, or I'm documenting in a way, it could be an emergent situation too. Like that is honest and true and it needs some assistance. But being able to create stories from these births and allow mothers to look back on to their birth story, or to pick apart different parts like that they forgot. And they're like, oh my goodness, I don't remember this moment at all. I don't remember my husband holding me in this way, or his facial expressions, or like when she finally is able to, meet her baby, and just, even though it was a whirlwind of an event that just happened, but her face when she looks down at her little girl, her little boy, and just says, oh my goodness, you're here. That moment, they forget. I forgot. I don't remember that, but it was there. Instead of me thinking I'm a bad mom, because that was my mindset. I'm a bad mom because I don't remember those moments. It's because of what happened to me during those moments, or different situations. And then sometimes these situations we can't control. Birth is an event that you cannot control.
For sure.
And so,
anyone who tells you it's always going to be safe if you do this, and this are very inexperienced and naive.
Right. Exactly. Absolutely. And so that's what going down to boundaries again. It's creating a space and making sure you have that space and people in your circle that is going to advocate for you, that's going to love on you, that is going to support you, that is going to give you words of affirmation or quality time, acts of service, that is going to provide what you need in one of your most vulnerable times of your life.
So really, it seems like what we're getting down to is when you come to a place where you can identify what a healthy boundary is for you, though that is a big part of finding the right birth team, like what you did with your second delivery, and ensuring that everyone around you is supportive of your choices. This is all part of healthy boundaries. And then you have a way and a team of people around you to advocate for you when you are that laboring woman who is in that vulnerable state.
Right.
You have the other people around you, even if you are within that medical system, you have other people around you who are willing to advocate and help stand up for you.
Yeah.
And it's going to ultimately, having healthy boundaries is ultimately going to help you prepare for your birth and go into it so that you can have a much better experience, because not everyone gets to have a midwife like myself who already understands how important it is to treat the woman with utmost love and respect during that process. Most birth providers don't understand that. They don't respect that. They don't honor it. And that's the thing that, as a woman, one of the things why I know has gotten me to where I am with being a successful midwife. It's because that is something that is important to me. And it really jumped out at me. This was probably 5 or 6 years ago when I had a woman come to me very late in pregnancy. She couldn't afford my full fee. We only did like 3 prenatal visits together. But during her labor, at one point, I asked her, is it okay for me to listen to baby right now? And she looked at me and said, no. I was like, okay, that's fine. And I just stepped back and just let her keep laboring along. And it wasn't a time where I felt like an urgent need to listen to baby. It's just, I do it at certain intervals, and it was coming up to that point. Now, if there had been serious concerns going on, I really needed, I would have explained that to her. But I was kind of like just in that checking a box mode, just like, it's the time to listen to baby. Let's just do it.
Yeah.
And she said no, and I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
And the people around her just kind of like dropped jaws and looked at me. And later on, after the fact, her support people around her said she has never once ever told anybody no in her life. The fact that she told you no was huge.
Oh, she's put in a lot of work.
And I said, that's wonderful.
Yeah, it's great.
Because you know what? I respected that no.
Yes.
And I guarantee you she's a different woman because of it.
Oh, yes.
Because she realized I do have a voice. I can say what I think is best for me.
Right.
And my midwife respected me in that.
Yes.
And like, I'm getting goosebumps right now telling this story because I'm realizing what a very impactful moment that was for her. And, you know, the thing is, most midwives and most doctors, providers, they don't care. They're like, no, it's time to listen to the baby. I don't care what you say. And so what that does is it takes power away from the woman. It kind of knocks her down and puts her in her place and makes her feel like, okay, I need to stay with these walls around me where I'm not listening to my own gut instincts.
Right.
No one's trusting my intuition.
Yeah.
They think they know better than me.
Yes.
And then we're all contributing to this boundary problem.
Yes.
And we have women who are a nervous wreck. They're becoming physically and mentally ill because they're just letting people walk all over them. It's such a problem.
It is.
And so if we can help women find what are healthy boundaries, they can go into their birth experiences and be able to like come out of them feeling more empowered, more confident, because the way you treat a woman during her labor or right after, and this could go up for weeks, impacts her forever for the rest of her life.
Oh, absolutely.
And so, but not everyone has a midwife like myself who respects that. So we have to really empower them and help them to like find their own voice when they're going into their birthing space.
Yes. And I feel like this work should be done. I mean, but you said that it's hard because we don't understand that there is work there that needs to be done until after we have children. But I do see a lot more people that haven't had children yet that are diving deep into this. They are putting in the work. They are reading books. They are practicing these boundaries with themselves right now and their family members. And I'm thankful, like I say with social media, I love that you see all these videos that pop up and that encourage people to reflect and think like, oh, that's not natural. That's not normal. Like how someone talks to me, that's not normal. I that's how I was raised. Like and so like you have to like sit with yourself for a second and be like, okay, well, who am I then? Who am I? Because I'm basically living through someone else's eyes at the moment, like a reflection of them. And like, I feel like with women, that's the hard part right there. I feel with a lot of mothers and like mother-in-laws projecting themselves onto these women. And so they're like, I need to be liked by my mom. I need to do her as her wishes. Like I need to please my mother in order to feel safe. It's that authority control. I just don't know what to do from that spot, from boundaries and like placing those boundaries there with family, reading books, educating yourselves, learning what certain terms are when it comes to psychology-based, just information, like gather all the information you can, sit with it, journal, like learn your intuition, your like what you're feeling in that moment. So when you're having a response from a situation that is coming at you and you're not feeling right about it, that's when that gut sense comes in. So like when you're not feeling right and your heart's racing a bit and you're feeling clammy, you're stuttering and you're having trouble with words you want to say, you're either going to shut down again, you're going to fawn, you're going to freeze, sometimes people fight. And so when you start to fight, that's a response that some people have, and that causes a lot of emotion that comes out from that. But, I feel like that's what we got to listen to. We got to listen to our bodies. We have to understand what we're feeling in that moment. And it's okay to talk about it. And when I feel like you're able to talk with other people and hear their experiences as well and relate to their experiences with either their family members, friends, anyone, you're able to be like, okay, I'm not the only one here. This is a pattern that's happening with many other women. So there you go. That's a community that giving yourself community that will provide you to rise above that. And
I'm just sitting here going, well, where are the safe places going to be that these women can do this?
Yeah,
we should set up an online group. That
would be fun. Yes, I think that would be great.
We should set up an online group so that for women who want to further explore these ideas or have a safe place that they can come to and discuss them.
Yeah.
We should do that.
I think that would be great.
We should
there's not a lot, in the mid-Missouri area, we have some groups that are coming to surface for like postpartum, like, which I love, because when I had my girls, we didn't have anything like that here. No. We didn't have lactation. Lactation consulting was barely even happening in this area. But I feel like now there's some new doulas that are putting some groups together for postpartum care, which I love. That's great.
Yeah.
I would have loved to attend that when I was, just had a baby. But I feel like if we get a group together with other women.
I'm talking about an online group.
Yeah, or online.
We can do in-person for local people, but an online group for the women who are watching us and listening to us that maybe on a different continent,
Yes.
And we could have a safe place for them to explore, like, what is a safe boundary and what does that look like? We should do that. We should explore that.
What has helped them or what they've noticed.
Because we're here to help women.
Yeah.
We're yes, we tell our stories, but we want to help all of the other women listening to us to help you to establish better boundaries in your own life. In some ways that you can identify. You just went down a whole list of ways you can identify like when you need to set a boundary.
Yeah.
But, this comes down to trusting our God-given intuition, that gut instinct that we may have been shutting down and ignoring most of our lives because of all of the pressures from those around us and us not really trusting that gut instinct anymore. And it might take a while for you to kind of turn that intuition back on and recognize that's my intuition telling me I need to do something differently.
Yeah.
And, but some signs that you're going against your gut instinct are things like anxiety, feeling anxious and upset about things for a long time after the interaction has happened.
Yes. Suppressing a lot of feelings.
Yeah.
That's a big one. It's like, I feel like I have an autoimmune condition. So like with my autoimmune condition, it goes in phases. And I feel like it's more active. I have a flare when I'm not being true to myself. And I noticed that so much. And so I've had to recently, I haven't had a flare in a year and a half now.
Wow, that's great.
And so I'm like, is it because of the work I'm doing? Like, I feel like it is. I am communicating differently. I am creating these boundaries. I am saying, you know what? This is okay. This is okay for me to not talk or speak to this person as much as what I feel like I should be doing. Or not only that, like if I feel wrong about something, a situation, it could be for anything in life, not just birth related, or it could be like financial reasons or something you're doing to the house, a color on the wall. Like for instance, like if you don't like the color on the wall, or you're like, hey, I don't really like that color. Can we try something else? Like there's a lot of little things there. And I feel like when women suppress those feelings and those thoughts, and it just turns into sickness. It turns into the anxiety the OCD. There's a lot of different issues that can arise when you aren't being true with yourself, to yourself. And so I feel like with you, Sabrina, like you have brought me out a lot too. And with the work I do or speaking for myself more, because like I said, I do it for my clients a lot. Like I will provide them with all the information and say, hey, you know, she doesn't want that. This is what she wants. She's safe. Her baby's great. I mean, just don't, we're good. We don't need any of this. But with me, I was having some issues. And I feel grateful though at the same time, because I feel like my clients as well, seeing them go through these experiences from pregnancy, from birth to postpartum, and having them educate themselves, because it starts with them. They've got to put in the work. You can read all the things, you can watch these videos, you can listen to podcasts.
You can have a great midwife supporting you, but you have to do the work.
But you have to do the work. And so, you know, if you're listening to this and you're trying to think, okay, well, I'm going to create some boundaries. I'm going to listen to these podcasts and how to create boundaries. You know, that's a start. But then you got to go and dig deep, and you've got to put in those words and those journaling and go back and reflect and practice. That's another thing. Like when I feel like there's certain words that are triggers for me. So when I say something, I feel like a pit in my stomach, like my stomach's heavy. And I'm like, no, I'm going to continue to say this word. And I'm going to say it over and over and over again until I don't feel that way anymore. And so that's that work you got to put in. And I think with you and my oldest daughter, or just people that are so strong with, like, they know what they want and they're going to go get it. That is awesome. And that kind of personality helps certain other individuals. And we're all here to help each other. We really, truly are. We just got to be our authentic selves. Like ourselves.
Just be real with each other, please.
That's all we got to do is be real.
That's all I want.
Because that's what humanity, we can come together so well if we are just authentic and real with ourselves and with others. It's when we put on the mask. It's when we're fake that we lose connection. We lose pure connection. And when you can't connect with people, that's when things fall apart.
Authentic people can tell when you have a mask on, and it's going to push us away. Because that's been the hardest thing for me as a professional, quite frankly. And so the thing is, what you're describing too is, it's just like when we're trying to prepare for labor and birth, it's deeper soul work. It's the deeper work to learn how to set boundaries, to learn how to get through natural labor. It's all about you being willing to say, I have work to do, and be willing to maybe learn a few different tools. Journaling is one of them. Learning how to calm your own nervous system. And that's a whole topic in and of itself right there. But just simple little things that you can learn, and we should probably delve into in a different episode. But I'm thinking about, again, just like last episode, I was like, oh yeah, there's all these different things we're going to talk about. But there's so many women who I've had the honor and privilege to work with doing work as a midwife, that I've seen these women evolve from the first baby I've helped them with to like the third or the fourth, and them just learning, and with each birth experience becoming more like what you're describing. And like with each experience, they are realizing that they can have better experiences in life by their choices. And some of that is boundaries, and some of that is letting go of the expectations that family has had on them. And so, you know, at some point, we're going to start bringing these women into these conversations and sitting here with us and having these conversations with us, because I know that the stories of these women are going to help all of you guys out there. Because when we can bring them in, we've presented some information. Now we're bringing some women in that are like, listen, this is how it applied in my life, not just me and Danielle's life, but in other women's lives. It's going to help everybody. And so I'm excited for that. But yeah, it's deeper work, and it's like being willing to learn some things and not just listen to podcasts and not just talk about it, but like, are you willing to journal? Are you willing to learn some ways to calm your own nervous system so that you have the ability to set healthy boundaries?
Right. Absolutely. I agree.
Yeah.
Well, this is great.
It's
I'm
great.
glad.
I love it. I love it.
All right. Well, I'm excited for the next episode.
Me too. I can't wait. Yeah. This is just, it's going to be wonderful. We so appreciate all of you listening and watching when you watch, but even just listening. And if you have found this helpful, please, share it with a friend or two. And if you have questions about what are boundaries, you can always get a hold of Danielle and I on our social media platforms and just start messaging us or ask questions on our posts. We are here to help and support all of you.
Yes, absolutely. All right. Till next time.
Till next time.